Okay.
Okay, yes.
Okay, great stuff. Well, firstly, let me start with a personal introduction because I think it's fair enough for you to actually know who I am as a person, and then get to know a little bit about my trading and so on and so on. So I am 28 years old. I am actually Tanzanian, so both of my parents are Tanzanian. I currently live in the UK, and I've been living here for the last about 17 years. Yeah, 17 years. So I was born in Tanzania, and then I came over to the UK while very, very young. So my schooling has been here in the UK. So we're talking primary, we're talking secondary, so high school, college, university, as well as my profession before I became a full-time trader. Kwa hiyo, so for those of you that are wondering, does he speak Swahili? Ndio, naongea Swahili. Tena napenda sana kukutana na wenzangu wa Swahili, kuongea nao kwa sababu inanisaidia mimi mwenyewe kuendelea kuijua lugha yangu. So yeah, I speak Swahili very fluently, and I'm very fortunate here in the UK that we have a very good Swahili network, especially where I live, which is the middle of the UK. So yeah, that's pretty much me as a person on a personal level. If you have questions, please write them down, because I think in the end, at the end, when I'm done talking about trading, I'll give you guys an opportunity to ask questions. Or what you can do, let's make it more interactive. If you have a question, just stop me, right? Because I'm not a machine. I love interaction. So as a question comes in your mind, just says Frank, hang on, ask your question. I'll be more than happy to answer that question for you. So that should be a lot better than you guys just writing things down, because something may be forgotten, or you may not still want to ask that question. So let's hear it from the moment it comes into your mind. So yeah, that's me on the personal level. Hopefully that was okay. But if you want to know more, please ask straight away. I'm okay with that. So moving on to trading. Now, how many of you guys have heard of me? Or so aside from what Tom has said, how many of you guys have heard me speak elsewhere, be it in an interview or a forum? Because I've done quite a few of those before. And I just want to know how many have an idea or about my story and how I got started in trading.
Confession. I may have shared your video without asking permission.
That's hardly a crime. I don't think I'd go far if I took you to court, Tom.
Okay. All right. But yeah, if somebody asks a specific question, yeah, they might have.
Yeah.
Maybe start from the beginning. Right from the beginning.
Absolutely. So for those of you that have heard my trading story, you're gonna hear a lot of things for the second time or third time and so on, right? But for those of you that haven't, it's a great opportunity because you're hearing it for the very first time. And hopefully, as I tell you the story, you can kind of find yourself somewhere in that story. Because one of the things that I realized when I then came to find success in trading is the individuals that were at that success point or that success level, that success platform, they were very similar to me, right? Very, very, very similar to me. But there's also a massive difference between the individuals that are not doing so well and the individuals that are doing well. And later on, I'd like to give you an example of the casino and the gamblers. There's a reason why casinos always make money. There's a reason why gamblers make money. But I want to give you that example in a more visual and in a more interactive way, so you can really think about it, process it in your mind. So yeah, my trading started back in 2015. At the time, gosh, how old was I? I think I was 21. So it was just a year after I had graduated. So I went to university and I studied computing. So technology is my background. So I did that for 6 years. So yeah, 2015, I'm living in a house, in a shared house with a guy from Nigeria. And one day a few of his friends come over. It was on a weekend, on a Sunday. And as I'm in my room, because usually that's what happens, if your housemate has friends, it's nice to kind of just let them have that moment, rather than you being there and so on. So I'm in my room, I got my headphones on. I'm playing PlayStation as I did. I'm a big FIFA fan. And yeah, so as I'm doing my thing, I can hear people laughing. I can hear people celebrating. I can hear people making a lot of noise. And at some point, when I couldn't ignore it any longer, I was like, put the headphone down, and I kind of stepped out my room to go into the next room and kind of get an idea of what they were talking about, what was going on. Maybe it was something that I should have known, right? So, and very quickly I got an idea that these guys were talking about something exciting, right? These guys were celebrating. These guys were over the moon. They were very happy about something. At that time, I didn't say much. I allowed his friends to leave. Later on, I managed to have a sit down with the individual. And I said, hey, what were you guys so happy about? What was going on? As somebody won the lottery? Because literally that was what I was thinking. As somebody won the lottery. The lottery here in the UK is a massive thing. I don't know how big it is where you are, but here in the UK, when somebody wins, it's usually millions. So yeah, I was very, very intrigued to kind of confirm whether it was the lottery or what. And to my surprise and to my maybe disappointment, it wasn't the lottery, right? It was trading. And at that point, I knew absolutely nothing about trading. And I didn't know that I knew nothing about trading until 3-4 years down the line. But back to that point. So yeah, he explains to me that those guys were talking about trading. So they had traded a few shares. They had used a platform called Plus 500. I don't know whether anybody on here has come across that platform, but that platform is essentially a platform where you can trade at literally everything. So we're talking stocks, we're talking commodities, so sugar, gold, oil, whatever it may be, and also Forex, so Forex pairs. And yeah, it was like, yeah, so that's what they're doing. So, he's just won something big. I think it was short-term trading. And he said, yeah, the main principle of trading is that you buy when it's low, right? You sell when it's high, you make the difference. Again, you sell when it's high, buy it back when it is low, and then you make the difference. So that was it, right? That was all I knew then. And, I was sold on the idea that trading is something I could make a lot of money from, right? So I was like, okay, great. I like this. And he said, hang on, let me help you register. Because with certain platforms, they won't take you on as a client if you don't have the knowledge, especially here in the UK. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is like in the countries that you guys are from. So when I registered to Plus 500, they asked me a question about my experience, my knowledge. So I lied. I said, hey, I've got a lot of experience. I've got a lot of knowledge. And of course, this is because I want to make money. I want to do what those guys have just done. Right? Although those questions were good for me, and they were there to kind of help me make sure that I don't go into trading without knowing those information, but I lied. Right? I got involved. So I opened my account, and then I didn't understand much. And it was one of those platforms of where everything was into one. So you don't have MT4 and let's say maybe TradingView or another platform of where you're analyzing here, you're executing the trade on this platform, you're managing it on this platform. Everything was in one. And on that platform, what they had these options of where it would show you the securities that had been that had risen the most, so the top risers, and they also had something called the top fallers. So any security that had fallen the most, they would list them there. And what I would do with the concept of you buy low and you sell high, I would go to the ones that have risen the most, and I would sell them because obviously they're higher. So I would sell them. So anything that I can actually recognize, maybe Facebook, maybe Euro JP, Euro USD or Euro JPY, I'd press. I'd go to the seller option and see who has sold off the most, and I'd buy them. Maybe Microsoft, maybe whatever it was, not really understanding what I was doing. And with some luck, it actually worked, right? It actually worked. And I remember, I can't remember how exactly the amount that I started with, but I managed to increase the account multiple times, right? Multiple times. And I thought, right? Looking at this money, I've just made more money here in the last 2-3 months than I have, or that I will in the next 2-3 years if I was to stay at this job that I'm working at, which was a professional job at the time. I think they were paying me £25,000 a year. But yeah, the starting journey of my trading for those few months were absolutely incredible. And I had no idea how much damage that was actually doing to me on a mental level, because it made me believe that trading was easy. Like that was it. I didn't need anything else. So for the next 3 years, that was all that I was doing. I didn't know about trade. I didn't know about TradingView. I didn't know about MT4, believe it or not. I didn't know about charts. I didn't know about stop loss. I didn't know about take profit. I was doing everything manually, right? Everything manually. And Plus 500 is great because it has a desktop application as well as a mobile application. So I was on it everywhere I could be, right? Everywhere. About 2 years in, I said, okay, do you know what? Let me now put some serious money behind this, because looking at this demo, I'm making money, right? Looking at this demo, looking at this virtual money, I am making a lot of money. So I said, okay, I'm going to start with a small amount. I think it was around £400 or £500. I can't remember exactly, quite some time ago. And I actually made some, right? I actually started to make money. Like, again, my luck was going on. But I think there was one time, because again, I'm now trading everything. I'm trading commodities, I'm trading Forex, I'm trading stocks, I'm trading indices, and you know how crazy indices move. I must have bought an indice. It was Hang Seng 500, which that's a particular name for, what is it? It's the Hong Kong indice. So all the companies that are trading under the Hong Kong stock exchange. So I bought, and it moves very fast, very, very, very fast. And these were all the things that I was not taking into consideration at the time. So anyway, I bought this indices, and I went to sleep. Now, the Hong Kong stock market is a different time frame to me. So when I am asleep, they are awake. And when I wake up at 9 a.m., they then close their market, because that's their 5:30 p.m. So anyway, so before I go to sleep, I buy this, and I sleep. I think I wake up at like 6, maybe go to the bathroom or something. And the way I was trading, it was, maybe some of you can relate to this, of where you buy something or you sell something, and it's constantly on your mind. You can't really do anything else. You're constantly thinking about that trade, And so when I woke up, and for all the years, those first 3 years that I was trading, whenever I woke up, the first thing I would do was not go to my knees and pray. It was pick up my phone and open that trading application, because it was always on my mind. I'd sometimes even dream about trading. I dreamed that the trade that I was in went my way. I was dreaming that I've made this amount of money, and so on. So I had that behavior of, when, as long as the trade is running, I can't focus on anything else, just that trade. So yeah, when I now pick up my phone and I open, I found out that I lost, I think I came somewhere from 600 and something to 200 and something, and the trade was still running. I was like, whoa, is this really happening, or am I dreaming? It's one of those moments of where you're like, and then you're looking at the phone again, just because you want to make sure that what the number that you're seeing is exactly what you're seeing. So that was a bit of a shock for me. And that was the first time that I realized that you could lose a lot of money from trading. Right? But again, it wasn't an experience big enough to allow me to change my belief that trading was easy, and the way I was trading was going to make me money long term. That experience was not enough. So in my mind, I was still thinking trading is easy, or the little that I know, this is all that I need to be successful. And I held on to that trade, hoping that it would go back up, right? I had, and every time it went, let's say a few $100 up my side, I was like, yes. And sometimes I would add another trade, right? I would add another trade, hoping, to profit double when the trade finally goes my way. And it didn't. I think at the end I lost like 400 and something. Long story short, on this particular topic, the amount that I was left was not more than $200. So I had lost quite a bit, right? And I was like, there's no way, right? There's no way this can happen. I also had the mentality of that every day I must make a particular amount of money. It was as if I owned the market. It was as if I tell the market what to do, or I tell the market what it should give me rather than the other way around, right? It was as if I knew what all the other traders were doing, or I could tell the other traders what to do so it can benefit me. I have that particular type of mindset. So I said to myself, every day I want to make a particular amount. Every day I want this, I want that. That I found out later on was a very destructive mindset. Anyway, so I carry on with my ways. And I got to a point where I noticed that I wasn't going anywhere, right? So that excitement was starting to now run out. That idea that I first had in the year 2015, that I would make a lot of money doing this. And remember the vision that I had. Oh, if I carry on doing this thing, look how much money I've just made in these few months. This would be a lot more than the amount I would make if I was to stay in this professional job, paying me $25K a year. So that vision was coming back to me, and it was saying, Frank, what's going on? Where is it? Right? Where is it? So I started to lose a little bit of faith. I started to lose a little bit of love for trading. And I'm looking around. And one time, so this is now in 2018, I came across a guy called Etienne. And this is the guy that I've been very fortunate this year to have done an interview with, and I explained to him the story, but in much shorter detail. So I came across that guy, and at that time I was trying to learn Forex from different guys. I think I was following like 10 different guys, YouTube videos, whatever YouTube video I could find. I'd sit there all night trying to understand what they're doing. I knew all of their candlestick patterns. Like I knew all these little different things that was going on. I knew them. I started to know them. But what I liked about Etienne was that it gave me an insight that I never had. Right? It took away all of this chart stuff, all this technical analysis stuff, which I didn't understand very well anyway. And what Etienne has is a podcast. And for anybody who is a trader, I think it is. I'm trying to emphasize how important those podcasts are. But yeah, if you're a trader and you have not come across a podcast by Etienne called Desire to Trade, please search for it. I'm going to tell you how it changed my trading, and hopefully can help you with yours. So in that podcast, Etienne, who is a professional trader himself, he then interviews other professional traders. And after listening to an interview after interview after interview, I realized 4 things in general. Regardless of who I was listening to, so whether they were young, old, experienced, inexperienced, regardless of what they were trading, whether it was Forex, whether it was options, future, stocks, whatever it may be, commodities, they all mentioned these 4 things. Number 1, trading system or a trading strategy. Number 2, risk management. Number 3, trading psychology. When you put these 3 things together, you have what's called trading education. And I was like, how can it be that all these guys from different walks of life, from different areas, different countries, you know, different parts of the world. They're all talking about these three things. So in my mind, it clicked that these three things must be it, right? Because the only other thing in common that these guys have is that they are successful. So let me work on these three things. And that was when I came to realize the importance of listening to somebody who has what you want. Before, I was just taking advice from everybody who had advice to give. But their advice, how can somebody advise you on something that they are not successful in? They may have absolutely no bad will, but it's very difficult for somebody to teach you something that they don't know. And if they're not successful, then they're not successful for a reason. I didn't know that. So having listened to those guys, I said, okay, I should learn from one of these guys. So I ended up picking a few of those guys. And the guy that I stayed with the longest was a guy called Naveen Prithani. He has a trading community called Urban Trading or Urban Forex, something along those lines. So I got myself to a position of where I'm learning from individuals that are actually successful, that have actually walked the path that I have walked in. And the exposure was incredible, right? The difference in information, the quality in the information that was given to me was absolutely night and day. I was like, wow. And it almost made me realize that no wonder why you were not making money. Fair enough, you did not blow an account. And you know, I used to be proud of that because everybody speaks like, oh, I blew my account last week. Oh, I was like, no, I've never blown an account. So that made me feel like I was doing great, but I wasn't, because I wasn't making any money either, right? So I worked with these individuals, and at the end, what I ended up doing is I worked with, like I said, multiple of them. So I ended up taking something from this person, something from that person, something from that person, and then created my own system, right? But it's important for me to mention here that I can only create a system once I know what a system actually is. Before, I had tried to create my own trading strategy. And because I did not know what a successful trading strategy looked like, I failed completely. I literally failed. So now, having learned from these individuals, having picked up something that I liked from these individuals, I then went on to create something of my own. So I started working with an individual. The first one was called, what's his name? He was re-interviewed, not actually 2 weeks ago, actually. Anyway, that was towards the end of the year of that 2018. So from 2018 to 2019, having worked with multiple of them within that year, I then had enough to actually kind of go out on my own and kind of start things on my own self. So, and I became profitable. I became consistently profitable coming towards the end of 2019. In the beginning of 2020, I became a six-figure trader. How did I do that? I went to work, or I went to apply working with a prop firm. Now, there are multiple of these things around, and they have now become the easiest way for you to become a six-figure trader. You no longer have to take your account from $1,000 that you have to $100,000. You no longer have to take as much risk, right? And that is the reason why they were taking that much risk. It's because how else do you get from $1,000 to $100,000? You have to take that risk. You have to try and flip your account. But that risk resulted in a lot of losses, which I'm sure some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm now at a point of where I am a six-figure trader working with my first company, FTMO. From listening to those interviews again, I came across guys that were working with multiple prop firms. And the benefit of that was that you could duplicate your income by just basically doing the same thing, right? So you can duplicate, so you can increase your income. And I was like, that's a great idea. It's a no-brainer. So I then spent the rest of that year, 2020, trying to work with multiple prop funds and increase my capital. So I went from six figures to now multiple six figures. And this year, right? So towards the end of Q2 this year, I became a 7-figure funded trader. So I now work with 4 prop firms, right? So that's pretty much my story. And before I go any further, does anybody have a question?
I hope they're writing the questions.
So if you have a question, you can either unmute yourself, or you can write it in the message, and I'll be more than happy to go into some details regarding the question.
Hi, this is Meshach.
Hello, Meshach.
Yes, I've listened to you keenly. Now, just a point of clarification. So you're saying you could build on your investment bit by bit, and yeah, without really having to take a huge risk, at the beginning.
Correct.
All right.
I will tell you a conversation that I had with Tom when I first met him. I basically said, in this day and age, for you to use your own capital, it's not the best idea. Because let's say you use your own capital of $1,000, and I use my investor's capital of, let's say, $100,000. When you make 10%, you make $100. When I make 10%, I make $10,000. I then have to split that with my investor, which, let's say, 50-50 to keep the maths very simple. He takes 5,000, I take 5,000. So although me and you have both made 10%, but because our capital, there's a massive difference between our capital, I have made a lot more money. But the work was exactly the same. It was the same market, same pair, same trade, whatever it may be. At the same time, if that trade was to be a loss, I would have not suffered anything at all. On the other hand, you would have suffered something because it came from your pocket. So we're now at an age or at a period of where you don't have to use your own capital. And it literally does not make sense, especially when you're starting out. Later on, when you have made money from these prop firms, you can then take that money and put it into your own personal account. So you're not starting with $1,500, whatever it may be. You're now starting with 50,000, 100,000, and so on and so on. So
okay,
I haven't traded my own money. It's been a while. So yeah, about a year. So yeah, okay, no. The moment I became a 6-figure trader was the moment I stopped trading my own money. So going into 2020, as I became a 6-figure trader, I was like, there's no point. What's the word? The source of funds. Sorry, can you retype that question? What's the word? The source of funds.
Can I come in?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So, what is the level of certification you need to access these funds from these investors? What's the process like? Okay.
So with these investors, there is a evaluation. Sorry, there is a challenge period or a challenge process. And once you pass that challenge, you go through an evaluation process. So each process has its own objectives. So for example, if you were to go and work with a company called FTMO, what they would want you to do is for you to achieve 10% without losing 10%. And they would want you to do that in 30 days. So they would test your trading abilities. So there is no certificate per se. It's just whether you can trade or not. And from the objectives that they give you, if you pass those objectives, then they would know that you can trade. If you don't pass those objectives, then obviously you're not yet at that level. So one of the things that we do, and you may have heard from Tom, is that we will actually work with traders for them to actually pass those processes. So we will develop you. So the way our course and our community is designed is to teach you how to trade first, right? Then have you develop the right skills that are required to work with these investors, and then we would connect you with these investors. Right? So there's no certificate per se, it's just your ability to trade. Right? So can you make 10% without losing 10% and without losing more than 5% in a single day? And all of that has to be completed within 30 days. But it is possible, right? It is possible. Many people are doing it. And as time goes by, it gets easier and easier because obviously there are more of us that are sharing that knowledge. So it is possible. Those challenges, they come at a particular fee. So depending on which account you want from the investor, they would charge you to take that exam or that challenge. And that charge varies anywhere between $150 all the way to $610. So for me, when I first started, I went straight with a big account. I said, hey, investor, I want your biggest account you have, which is $100,000. And to take the challenge or the exam to get that investment, I had to pay them $610. If I pass the challenge, that $610 comes back to me. But if I lose that challenge, that $610 is lost. Was that okay? Did I answer your question okay?
Yeah, so if I want you to connect me, I just need to talk to you and you give me the details?
Yes, so I will talk a little bit more about that towards the end because I'd like to help everybody here as I have helped Thomas one way or the other. So yeah, I will talk a little bit more about that at the end. But yeah, essentially I will, yeah.
Franklyn, Vincent here.
Hi, Vincent.
Just a general question. What's your view on scalping as a strategy vis-a-vis FTMO? Because we sort of tried as a group and we got burnt. I'm sure Tom and the other guys would give us more information on that. But generally, what is your take on that?
I think that's a very good question because in trading, the failure rate is 95%. And looking into that 95%, a large percent of those traders are scalpers. And I'll tell you why that is. Because I've seen them, I've worked with them, and having understood the 3 different types of traders, I now understand why scalping is the hardest thing you can do as a trader, especially when you're beginning. So imagine you've never, you don't have any experience of using a gun. But what I now do is I take you and I don't just take you to war, I take you and put you on the front line. Right? So I don't just take you to war, I take you and I put you on the front line. I say this because in scalping, you are, for beginners, you don't know much about trading as a whole, and you don't know what you don't know. So that's a conversation for another day. But you don't know much because nobody's born with the knowledge of trading. But all of a sudden, you then are put in or you put yourself in a situation of where you need to make the right decision, and you need to make the right decision in a very fast period of time. So in a very short period of time. Because with scalping, the market is moving like this. Depending on which level you're on, whether you are a 1 minute or 5 minutes, but the market's still moving quite fast. So you are having to make accurate decision in a very short period of time. And you're not equipped for that. There's no way. It's going back to my first example. It's like me taking somebody who has no experience, taking them to war with me and putting them in the front line. You are going to get burnt most of the time. You don't know what you're doing. You don't have the mental capacity or the knowledge first, and the experience to make decisions that fast and to make the right decisions that fast. Most successful traders, they start off as swing traders first. What that does is it buys you time. So you learn the knowledge, right? And when you need to make a decision, you have time to make the decision. So you have time to consider what you should do. And in the beginning, that's very important because you need that time, right? And then as they conquer swing trading, they now, and they still love the action of trading, frequently, they now move on to day trading. As they conquer day trading, they now move on to scalping. But those that go the other way around, of where they start with scalping first and then try and find trading success, maybe 99% of you fail because it's that difficult. You don't have the time nor the knowledge to be making the right decisions when you need to. Does that make any sense?
Yes, I think it, just looking back on our experience, and I guess that's why Tom at the introduction, he mentioned that, look, we're asking ourselves questions, probably more him and a core group, when we're asking ourselves questions about how come we're not succeeding in this thing. I remember telling Tom at some point, and I asked him a personal question. I asked him, does this FTMO thing, does it really work? Do you know anybody who has done this thing successfully, after the experience that we had? Yeah, but it makes sense. Thank you.
So my advice has always been to start as a swing trader, because with my example, it should make sense. So I take a person, or I'm to be taken, never been to, and never held a gun, never done anything of that type. Take me to military camp, work on my fitness, wake me up in the morning, make me crawl through the mud, get used to that graft, take me to the range, teach me the different types of guns that are available. And then let's practice on my shooting on something that does not move first. As I pass and I progress through that, now move the object, and then, so I build that mental faculty, that experience in my mind. And then at some point, take me to war, right? And don't put me on the front line, but have me kind of have an idea of what's going on, what's the routine, what's the process, and so on. And as I get more experience, you move me close to the front line. That's what the army does, right? And that's what schools, universities do. I'll tell you one problem with Forex, and I was a victim of this too. And you may have been able to tell that from my story, in a sense of, if you want to be a doctor, what do you need? You need a degree, right? And you don't need any old degree. You need a medical doctorship degree. You need maybe a master's and even a PhD to some extent, right? So there are prerequisites that you have to go through. Now, being a trader, before you put your first trade, what did you need? Nothing, right? Before you saw money flushing around, what did you do before that? Nothing. So it was that experience that made you, or that gave you the belief that trading is easy. Trading, you don't need knowledge, you don't need education. Look, I've just made money here. But the trick of trading is not making money, because anybody can make money. You can give your child, with any luck, you can give them your phone and they can press buy or sell. And depending on what happens, nobody knows, they make money. So you don't need anything. The aim of trading, or the creme de la creme of trading, is to make money consistently. Right? That's where skill is required, to do it again and again and again and again, to a point where it's actually enough for you to leave whatever job you have, or for you to have a good enough pension pot. So consistency is key. And many of you may have friends of where you've heard them talking about trading, and at some point they were saying how great it was going, and now they're not trading at all. It's not just about the money. And these investors, they know that. They know that, yes, we want you to see whether you can make a particular amount of money, but more, what they want to see even more is your risk management. Can you protect my money? Because if you're losing, let's say, 10% today, 10% tomorrow, why would I give you $100,000 of my hard-earned money? Or better yet, if you had that $100,000 and you came to me and I'm your trader, and I am losing 10% today, 10% tomorrow, or 50% today, and I'm winning 50% tomorrow, would you give me your money, your hard-earned money? Would you go to a doctor that has a success rate of, let's say, 30%? Would you agree? No, I certainly wouldn't, right? So it's not, yes, you can do this, but can you do it again and again and again and again? And that's the skill that I had to learn, right? That's the skill that I had to learn. That's number one. Number two, I once met a man called Adam Kuhu, and he broke it down like this. And I've always remembered this in the back of my mind. He said, out of the three things that are involved in trading, so we're talking trading psychology, trading system, and trading risk management, he said that your trading system, so this is your charts, your technical analysis, is worth about 10%. And this shocked me. And hopefully it should give you an idea of why you haven't been as successful as you are, or why you have been as successful as you are. So actually, let me share my screen, because I'm gonna write this down. Host, be it Dennis or Tom, can you let me share my screen? Or can you make me the host, please?
Once again. Okay.
What I'm about to write down here was one of the game changers for me.
Oh.
And hopefully you guys can have I'll explain it a little bit, but it should give you guys an idea.
I'll be dropping off the call because another session is colliding with this one.
Dennis, that's fine.
All right, have a great time, guys.
Okay.
I just made you host, Frank.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, let me try and see if I can share something. Guys, if I'm talking too much, just let me know. Can you guys confirm whether you can see the screen or not?
Yes.
Yes, you can see.
Yes, we can see.
Okay, great. So, three things. Clearly, I like money. All right, three things. So we said trading system. So this is your strategy, and whether you're scalping, day trading, or swing trading, there's always a trading system. Next part is risk management. The next part is trading psychology. If you can remember from my story, Okay, so the gentleman said to me, and this gentleman was a billionaire. He said this: trading system is worth about 10% out of 100. He then said, risk management is worth about 15%. So, or vice versa, one of those. But the point was, if you had a great trading system, if you had a great risk management, you would only have around 20 to 30% of what it is actually required for you to be a trader. And I was like, you mean to tell me that in all the years that I've, by that time I was 3 years in the 3 years that I've been trading, I've been focusing here on 10%? The answer was yes. Wow. Okay. Trading psychology is worth the remaining. So in this case, it'd be 75%. What successful traders have more than anybody else is this. This is also the reason why you and a friend can have the same system, but he makes money, you lose, or you lose and he makes money. Because that trading system itself is only 10%. That risk management is only 15%. When you are having those emotional experiences of where you're hesitating whether you should trade or not, or whether you should buy or sell, the problem is here. When you can't do anything else because the trade is running in the background, the answer is here. When you stop following your plan of risking 1% and you risk 10%, 15%, 5%, the answer is also here. So what I'm telling you is the success that you will have on the first two here is largely dependent, if not 100%, on your psychology, which is your mind. Successful individuals think differently to individuals that are not successful. Successful individuals, they think alike. Or let's be honest, rich people think different to poor people. If you were to get in a room and be able to tell whether somebody's rich or poor just from what they were thinking or what they were talking, within an hour or so, you'd be able to tell that person's rich, that person's poor. And they would go like this. The difference is here. You're in the same market, but your success, or the difference in your success, is here. And this is what no traders in the beginning aren't aware of. And it's not your fault, because nobody had sat you down and told you this. Nobody had sat me down and told me this. If I knew this when I first got started, I would have become a seven-figure trader maybe 2-3 years ago. Never mind this year. But nobody told me that. What I was focusing on the first 3 years was here. And I can possibly guess that most of you, what you've been focusing on up to now is also here. When I went to work with the individuals that were interviewed by Etienne in the Desire to Trade podcast, they didn't just focus here. They told me the whole lot. And most of them were not good at this. I went and followed a guy called Mark Douglas. He wrote a book called Trading in the Zone. That book has been my Bible for the time that I have been trading. That book didn't just go on to change my trading, it went on to change my life. Because it taught me about psychology and how I should act, how I should look at things. Because how you look at things determines how you feel. How you feel determines how you act. And so on. But before I go forward, does anybody have a question around this area? Or what I've just shared with you now? Does anybody have a question around here? I'm just seeing a message. I'll open that. Okay, that message is not for me. Are we all okay with that? Or as you listen to me, in the last few minutes, talk to you and tell you about this, does this give you an idea why you may not have been as successful as you want to be?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So what I want to do now is give you the same information from a slightly different point of view, because sometimes it's easier to see something when you're looking at somebody else. It's very difficult to see, to realize something in yourself if you're the one that's on the pedestal. There's a saying in Tanzania and not in Swahili. Kevin Aaron, yes, I will do that. So the saying in Swahili is something along the lines of a monkey cannot see their behind, right? So red, those monkeys that have that their behind is red. One monkey can laugh at another saying, "Hey, your bottom is red. Your bottom is red. Ha 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 ha," not realizing that his own bottom is red, right? And how true that is. So what I want to talk to you guys, this should be able to, Seth can relate. What I want to talk to you guys, and I think this can relate with everyone, is the industry of the casinos. I'm sure many of you have been to the casinos, right? And many of you have experienced that area one way or the other. So I want you to think about the two parties involved in running any casinos, which is the gambler and the casino, because this is also an example of a unsuccessful trader and a successful trader or a pro trader. So, and guys, I'd love some interaction in this, so please answer the questions. And I think you'll enjoy it. So let's first start with somebody who's a gambler. So somebody who's just walking into a casino, looking to make money. Most of their time, what purpose do they have in taking part in a casino?
They want to work out having won the bets they're going to place.
Okay, so we'll just say money, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you say that they also want to have fun?
Sure. Need the thrill of
yes.
Okay, so entertainment, right? They want to have that thrill, right? Great. Now, would you say that they have any system at all? Or are they going there thinking about, you know what, today's my lucky day, or today could be my lucky day?
I think they go there, they base everything on luck.
Right? So there is no system whatsoever. There's, they haven't studied anything. They haven't gone to university. They haven't gotten any education. So we can also, on this area, also say education is no. Okay. Now let's have a look at the casino side. Now, what do you think is the purpose of the casino?
course, it's to maximize profit.
Okay. So money, right? Slash profits. Okay. Do you think the casino cares about entertainment on their end or not?
No, they don't.
They couldn't care less. All they focus on is money, profits. That's it. Okay. Do you think the casinos have a system? Do you think they have spent, time and money hiring the right individuals, and spent the time to, find a system, test it, make sure that it's verified, it's passed before introducing a game and making it available to the gambler. Have they done that?
Yeah, certainly.
Yes.
Certainly.
Yeah, big yes. Not even maybe, big yes. And education-wise, do you think they have a degree? Do you think they've spent time studying for what they're doing?
They must be experts.
Yes, right? Experts, great word. They've spent a lot of time. These guys are smart as hell. Okay. Now, what is the most famous saying in a casino? The house what? It starts with the word the house.
The house always wins.
Okay. I can hear somebody laughing. I hope you haven't lost a lot of money in the casino.
I've never been there.
Okay, cool. So does this surprise you when you put the gambler and the casino side by side?
No, it's not surprising.
Right? Would you say that this person is taking any, so the casino, would you say that they are leaving anything to luck, or they're leaving they're allowing destiny, or they're hoping that they would make money?
Actually, I think yes, because nobody will walk into a casino not wanting to make money. Everybody is always hopeful they'll make money.
Oh, okay, so that's a very good point. But remember, are they educated to actually understand how it works?
I think the casinos don't depend on luck.
Yeah. They are assured to make money. Their system guarantees that they will make money over a period of time. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter, year, they're guaranteed to make money because of how their games are designed. Now, you as a gambler, because you're not educated, you didn't study, let's say, roulette. You didn't take enough time to study it. Maybe you've played it a lot of times, but you've never studied it. You don't understand the maths behind it. You're just enjoying it. It's entertainment, something to do with friends. Right? So you may have education, but it's very limited. Not enough to know that the odds are never in your favor. But with the casinos, they know that. So, guys, what I can tell you here now is, actually, let me draw another table. So I can, again, put it side by side, and then we'll finish off the whole thing, and I'll let you guys get back to your busy schedules. So can I get a table? Let's do this. Because now I'm going to take you back to trading, because that's the whole purpose of this, of me joining you guys today. So, and we're going to look at the same factors. These two, trading and the casino industry, are so alike. If you can understand the concept of the concept behind casinos, you will definitely become a successful trader. So purpose, system, education. So let's say amateur trader. And then let's say professional trader. Or, no, I'm going to say Franklyn, just to kind of make it a bit more personal. Okay. What do you think is the purpose of an amateur trader?
Quick money.
Okay. Do you think there are traders that are out there that are also trading for entertainment? Or, to say, yes, I'm a trader?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And then I'm going to switch it over to me. Do you think I trade for entertainment, or do you think banks trade for entertainment? Let me do that, actually. Do you think the bank is looking for entertainment when they are trading?
No.
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
Nice,
very
nice, bro.
strong, right? Very, very strong. Okay. Do you think the average trader has found a system, has tested it for, let's say, 6 months? They have back tested it. They've collected data worth 2-3 years. They've modified it and they are now trading it. Do you think an amateur trader does that?
No.
Not really.
Absolutely. So that means they rely on what? If you don't have a system, what are you relying on?
Luck.
Luck.
Okay. Right. Do you think bankers rely on luck?
No. No.
No.
Do we have bankers here? We have bankers. Okay, right. Education. Do you think an amateur trader has bought multiple courses? Do you think they've completed those courses? Do you think they've studied psychology? Do you think an amateur trader knows this? All of it?
No.
No.
No clue. There's no clue.
No idea. You're right, right? No. Do you think bankers know this?
Yes.
Yes. Damn right they do.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right. So what I'm trying to say to you, or what I'm trying to make very clear to you, gentlemen, is there's a very clear difference between the two. Now, the personal question that I want you all to ask yourself is, which one of these are you? And don't say out loud, that's you in your own heart. Because when somebody drew something like this for me, it made me realize not just what I was doing, but also how I can improve. Because it's one thing when somebody tells you a problem, but it's even better if they give you a solution. Imagine you're going, someone says, you're going the wrong way. Okay, where's the right way? I don't know. Useless. So it was something like this that made me think, wow, there's a problem. And no wonder why. Right? Because it's luck. Right? And when somebody asks, is trading gambling? If you're an amateur trader, as we can see here, there is no difference between amateur and a gambler. Or can you guys see a difference?
No.
So if you, yeah, exactly. Thank you. So if we are on this side, it means that we are gambling. Now, I don't want to gamble with my hard-earned money. And I know if I'm gambling, there's a very low probability that I would make enough money to become a full-time trader. But these guys over here, do you think there's a high or low probability that they will become a full-time trader?
Yes, I think so.
Absolutely. So this was what I learned. This was a transition that I made, and clearly, having spent the first 3 years not doing much, the next 2.5 years, voila. And I'm not saying that to boast, but I need to use myself as an example at times. Because it's all great and well, somebody telling you this, that, but where's the proof? Like, where is the person, right? And that's, I couldn't share all of this on the interview with Etienne. So me and Etienne are now friends. You know, again, we've shared a lot of this information going back and forth, but the interview, it could only be a certain amount of time. So I was not able to share all of this information. So now your next question is, okay, I know where I am. I'm just seeing a question from Bethwell. Don't you think available capital is also an issue, a factor in trading? Why do you think it is an issue? Just before I go forward. Bethwell?
Good when I have a small capital, normally I may run out of my trade because I don't want to lose it all. So having not enough capital, I think sometimes make me lose trades because I can't sustain the pressure of losing another account. So I wish I could have more balance so that I could sustain some of my trades because I know later it will turn to profits. But because I don't have enough capital, I feel it's really a factor in me earning or losing in trading.
Okay. So when you say you know it will turn around, have your system, let's guess, I'm going to guess you have a system. Have you studied your system? Have you back tested your system for years?
I am still working on it.
Okay.
You know, because normally you draw your support and your resistance. And you know that sometimes this thing can turn in one support or in another resistance or the next one. So sometimes you just can't sustain keeping yourself in the trade until the next support. And so because you don't have enough balance, you start running away. This is just my experience.
Okay. So let's say you're the casino. Do you think the casino, if they're losing money, they would want to even put more money at risk? Or do you think they would they would stop the game? If a casino sees somebody cheating, what do?
They stop it immediately.
So, because what you're basically saying is if I had enough money, I could sustain a bigger loss. And as a result, maybe the trade would come back and go to my way. Maybe, but that's not always the case. The number one rule in trading is that anything can happen. And if a trader does not understand that, they will always lose money. At my level of trading and others like me, we know we can lose at any time. The question is, how much am I willing to, how much I'm willing to risk to find out whether I am winning or losing? If let's say I'm willing to risk $100, if my loss goes to $100, I need to get out of the trade. And that has come from my system. So that understanding has come from my system, me backtesting my system, me understanding, me analyzing my system over a period of time. The pressure that you're talking about, the issue is here. Because if you can't keep a $1,000 account alive, or if let's take ourselves out. Let's say you're an investor, take your stuff on the other side. If the person that you want to give money to, they cannot control a $1,000 account, would you give them $100,000?
I want.
Exactly. So the issue is not the trading. The issue is usually the person themselves. And I say this with experience. Because once a particular person understands or does this, or they change from being at this point to becoming a bank, so from amateur to bank, everything changes. And again, I'm also talking from a person that's been where you've been. I've had the same thoughts as you've had, but it was exactly those type of thoughts that held me back for so long. I hope that kind of gives you an idea. Because again, remember, so when you were talking about your trading system. That's just 10%. Or let's say you're also talking about risk management. That's only 25%. There is still this huge area that we haven't even gone into. And I'm guessing you may not have had that time or an exposure to that area either.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yeah, go
on. My name is Albert.
Hello, Albert.
So you just mentioned that, okay, you talked about the trading system.
Yeah.
So how does the trading psychology how does it tie into risk management? Because you mentioned that, let's say somebody has, you mentioned that trading psychology, like how you view something affects how you feel, which will affect how you'll act. So for example, if somebody has a $100 account and somebody else has a $100,000 account, does it mean that how they perceive the risk will be different? Because let's say the person who has $100 is less willing to lose, let's say 10%, as opposed to the person who has $100,000.
Good question, and actually a very, very good question, because it's one thing somebody's telling you, oh, this all ties together, but the real question is how. So let me write some stuff down. So so let's break it down. What is a trading system? A trading system is basically a bunch of rules. You know, look for this, look for that, whether it's support, resistance, whether it's a candlestick, whether it's, you know, let's say simple moving average, Fibonacci, whatever it may be. So they're just rules, right? Would you agree?
Yes, I would agree.
Okay, so instructions. So there are rules and instructions. So these are the rules and this is what you should do. That's a trading system. If we look at risk management says risk 10 pips, risk 15 pips, risk, I don't know, let's say $100, $200. So risk management is also a bunch of rules. True or false?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. So risk management and trading system are just rules. Now, what do you think determines whether those rules are executed or not, or whether those rules are applied or ignored?
That would be the psychology, like the state of mind.
Exactly. So, and this is why you can give two people the same strategy, the same risk management, but their results will be different. Because one person will follow some rules or all of the rules, and another person may not follow any of them or just follow a few of them. So their success is not dependent on the risk management plan you gave them. They had the same risk management plan. Their success is also not dependent on the strategy. They had the same strategy. But the strategy and risk management on their own, that wasn't enough because that was controlled by something else, which is in here. It's, let's say you take two individuals, you give a job to two individuals. One has experience, all right? One has done it before, so they have the mental mind, so they have the mental powers or the experience, the exposure in their mind, and one that has never done it before. Which one will be more successful? And it's the same job.
The one who's done it before.
Yeah, because of the fact that he has that exposure. So his psychology has that information, has that knowledge. So that's why trading psychology is 75%. Because even with the people that I'm working with now, people that are 6 figures and 7 figures, this is, yes, we have the same trading system, but we have different results, and this is why.
Okay, that's clear. I think I understand it now.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you.
Okay. But this also should give you an idea why the failure rate is so high, because they don't have an idea of what this is. So you now have just been exposed. But then before this call, many of you may not have had an idea of why this is so important. You've probably heard it, someone, but nobody's actually giving you an explanation why it's so important and made you realize why it's so important. If most traders knew about this, their failure rate would not be 95%. I can promise you that. But 90% of traders are focusing on 10%. That's why they're losing money. That's why I was losing money. Okay, how long is a reasonable backtesting period? When I was first starting on my own, before I got a proper mentor, I would find a strategy and I would backtest it for maybe 6 months. And if I see good results, I'd celebrate, and then I'd start trading it. And then I'd lose money, or I'd not make a lot of money. When I started to work with a mentor, they advised me to backtest at least 2 years. I don't know what I was doing with my fingers here. I think I wanted to use these fingers, and then I changed my mind. But yeah, 2 years. Why is that important? What you must understand is, just as the housing market goes up and down, goes through different cycles, or the stock market goes through different cycles, the Forex market is exactly the same thing. The price of nyanya, tomato, sugar, it fluctuates depending on what's happening with the supply and demand and all the other things that so on. So the Forex market is exactly the same thing. When you test for 6 months, you are maybe only testing in one market phase, on one market cycle. But you are not testing the other cycles that are due to come, maybe this year, next year, you don't know when. So the more data you have, right, the more aware you are of whether your system is successful or not. I can tell you all the systems that I tried to develop and test and use within 6 months, all of them failed. All of them. In the beginning, they were great, but after a while, they just stopped. But all that time, I was this guy. Because I didn't understand that either. I had no education, because everything is here. I didn't know what I should be doing. I didn't know that I should be doing 2 years instead of 6 months. Now I do 3 years. So Tom may have mentioned this or not, but with our trading systems that we offer, that we work with, we test them for 3 years. Now I'm here. Because of that. So Vincent, I hope that helped you out.
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Okay. So let's get to the final part of this call. Because again, like I said, I want to let you guys go. So with what I've told you, can I help you in any way? Right? Can I help you come from this area to this area? For those of you that heard me talk with Etienne, hi Alex, I'm going to cover this right here, right now. Great question, great timing. So for those of you that heard me give my interview, and with that interview with Etienne and other interviews on YouTube, you heard me talk about a trading community called Atrio FX. And some of you may already know it from talking to Tom, because that's how me and Tom met. So what is Atrio FX and how did it come about? So Atrio FX is a trading community which I found with another individual that was on here earlier. And when I became a six-figure trader and I understood this, I then had information and an understanding of what to share with traders and help them. So at the time I was already in a trading community, just like what you guys are with Tom. And then I started to share those things. I said, guys, it's trading psychology. This is trading psychology. There's risk management. This is risk management. There's this, there's that. And as the changes were being reflected in my own life and my own success, the same happened to the individuals that I shared that information with. So they also now left the amateur side and came on the other side and so on. So the community grew, and it got to a point where it was too big to just have it on Telegram. So we created a professional platform, which I want to share with you right now. So we went on to create a professional platform or a premium platform of actual effects. And in this platform or in this community, we offer you that education of everything that we have just spoken about so far. The biggest part will be trading psychology. So what I then went on to do is I went on to create what I call on-demand courses, of where basically what I'm doing with you now, but it was just by myself, and I would walk you through different courses, and in those courses there'd be different topics. So for example, we'll talk about success and how psychology plays a part. We will talk about understanding different parts of trading or different areas of trading. And then we'll talk about the strategies that you can actually use. So these are my strategies. These are the strategies that I have found a lot of success with. And these this course is a video course. So what that means is that you can learn from an interactive video, just the same way as you are listening to me right now. And being on this platform, it means that you can learn whenever you want. So you are learning at your own pace, at your own schedule. And if you have a question, you can reach out to anybody in the community, especially myself. So if you go through a piece of content that that doesn't fully make sense after replaying it over and over again, you can reach out. Hey Frank, what am I doing here? Right? What am I doing wrong, or how can I go forward, and so on. So we can help you with that. So we have multiple courses covering the strategy, your risk management, your trading psychology, and we have a support system of where you can have one-on-one Zoom calls with me, or you can have a Zoom call with the team, and exactly what we're doing now. I'm sharing my screen and I'm talking about certain things, giving you examples and so on. And what we did earlier this year was massive. So we managed to get ourselves a AtrioFX application. What this means is that for the very first time, you can now learn Forex from your phone. For me, this was a game changer because I wasn't always next to a laptop, right? I wasn't always somewhere where I could view this community, but having it on my mobile phone made it a lot more friendly. It meant that I could be traveling somewhere, and if I have that time and I have the internet connection, I can learn Forex. As I'm away doing different things, I am connected to the wider community. So if there's an opportunity happening, I can be connected. I can find out about that opportunity. I can take advantage of that opportunity. I can also communicate with the other traders in a fashion that is similar to how you're communicating with people on Facebook, on Instagram. So the social experience was very familiar to what we're exposed to now at the moment. So that application is available on both the premium app, on the Android market as well as the Apple market. So you have that on both. So I would encourage you guys to download that and use that. So going back to this community has absolutely everything for you. So if you're a trader and you have made the commitment and have the desire to become a full-time trader or to become a professional trader, this community can serve you that. So the three things that you want: psychology, risk management, trading strategy is here. But the biggest thing about this community is that there is support, and there's the access, which allows you to access it and learn whenever you want. You want to learn on your own? Sure. You want to learn with the team? Okay, great, right? And what I would like to do, since I was very impressed from what I heard from Thomas, I would like to give you all a 1 month free access. So I think that would be a great opportunity for you to take advantage of this platform, for you to get an experience of how this platform will help you become a six-figure trader, right? This platform is, yes, we have traders on here that are worldwide, But when we were coming up with this platform, it was mainly to serve the East African region. And now it's grown into the African region. And we have, I think we have traders from all continents of the globe. So feel at home. This was originally intended for you. The A in AtrioFX stands for Africa, because obviously I'm African and I wanted to give something back to my community. And whenever I was speaking to my friends that were obviously African and the difficulties that they had in learning and getting the quality education, it was absurd, right? So as a result of that, we introduced AtrioFX, of where the quality is just as good, if not better, than what most people get here in the Western world. So I would like to give you all 1 month free membership. I believe Tom will be able to help you with that. Tom, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. And that's why, yeah, everybody who hasn't given in their emails, please submit your emails. I think I have about 30, only maybe 2 people have not given the emails.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you are interested, and if I was in your position, I would take this. You know, it's a great opportunity for you to see how you can learn Forex the right way and bridge the gap that is between you and your goal of becoming either pro or full-time. Yeah, so please send in your email and Thomas will be able to help you. What Thomas, you may be able to do at another time is maybe have a session like this with your team and show them how they register.
Okay.
I think many of them will find that very useful.
Okay.
And once you register, you will receive 4 emails. One would be to activate your account, and another email would be to give you instructions of what to do next. And in those emails, in those instructions, there are information of, you know, how to move around in this environment. So you should then find out how to make to take advantage of this entire community. So yeah. First, while I'm here, maybe, what do you guys think about just the look of the community? Is it something that you think you would enjoy, or do you think there's too much, there's not enough? What do you guys think? Just from looking at the homepage.
I certainly think this is a great idea, and we must really thank you most profusely for aiming this, and this is what we really wanted to get access to.
Okay, great stuff. That was very much appreciated. Does anybody have any questions at all? So we're talking, you know, anything about the community here, anything about me. Maybe you heard something in one of my interviews with those professional communities and wanted to hear something, maybe a further explanation on something that I had said.
Yes. Hello, Frank. Sorry.
Hello.
This is Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Regarding the prop firms that you mentioned, you said you're working with 4.
Yes.
Do you have some specific criteria now to choose which one to work with and which one not? Because obviously there's so many firms out there and they keep coming up. Like, is there something that you can tell the group here? Like, if you were to work with a prop firm, these are the things that maybe you should look out for, because maybe not all of them are the same. Maybe from your experience, these are the top ones that people should be looking out for. Something you can say on that?
Yeah, again, great questions.
Also include the type of platform they use, etc. Like if they use MT4, C-Trader,
okay.
And so on.
So the best ones for me so far have been FTMO and one called Fivers, for 5%ers. FTMO was the very first one, so it's the standard. They're very fair, they're very professional. They ask you to make 10% without you losing 10%. Now that may seem difficult, But once you've gone through the education process with us and the support with us, that is doable, right? So don't worry about that. But in terms of the support and the infrastructure that they offer, and they offer you 70%. So when I make, let's say, £10,000 in a month, I keep £7,000. They take £3,000. And they allow you to get as much as 400,000 now. So let's say you now have capital of 400,000. You make 10%, that's 40,000. Out of that 40,000, they would take 30. Sorry, yeah. Out of that 40,000, they would take 30%. 10% of 40,000 is 4,000. So 4 times 3, that's 30%. They would take 12,000, and you would be left with what, 28,000. The next one is, as I mentioned, was a company called 5Rs or 5 percenters. Now what they do is, whereas FTMO says we need you to make 10% within 30 days, what this other company says is that we want you to make, I think it was 8% within 6 months, right? We want you to make 8%, somewhere around that number, within 6 months. Now, they do that, but they also don't allow you to take trades that are as big. So there's something called leverage. If you understand what leverage is, again, all of that content, we help you with that. So maybe on that area, our courses are instructed in a sense of, you can be somebody who has just started, so you don't understand candlesticks, you don't understand order types, you don't understand MT4 trading view. There is a beginner's course that will walk you through that. And then once the foundation and the basics make sense, you will then move on to the advanced stuff, which will then teach you how we at AtriFX trade. There are multiple ways of trading Forex. There's a saying, there are multiple ways of skinning a cat. So multiple ways of doing one thing. Forex is exactly the same. Our way works, right? Our way has proof. Our way has been tested and verified by our traders, and certainly myself. So that's why we're using that particular system. And it's very easy, actually, one time frame. Maybe Tom can tell you more about it another time. But with leverage, FTMO has 1 to 100 leverage. The other account, 5 percenters, they have 1 to 10, which means you can't risk as much. So in much simpler term, with FTMO, you may be able to risk 1%, an entire 1% of your account. With the company that gives you a smaller leverage, you're only able to risk maybe 0.4% of your entire account at once. So that's why they also give you 6 months, because the trades that you take will not be as big. But that's perfect. It works for you regardless. It worked for me. And I have also done an interview with them, talking about their process and why I went through what it took me. So if you guys haven't seen that interview, please watch it. Very interesting. So did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Okay.
But apart from these two, are there others?
There are many others. There's a company that I worked with until recently. They stopped the whole the prop firm model. A company called Funding Talent, you may have heard. So they've changed the model altogether. And I was like, so what's happened? But that happened. So this is a problem with these new companies, because they don't have experience, they don't have the exposure. They go into this business and they don't do as well as they think they would do, or they don't make as much money. And as a result of that, if you're trading with them, they can close the trading. They can close the model altogether. And because it's not your own money, there's nothing you can do. So one of the reasons that makes those first two companies great is that they are reliable. Like they have guaranteed to be around for the next 10, 15 years at least. Because they're big names, they're known, many people are using them, they have a lot of big investors behind them, so the cash is there. But these new ones, they don't have that backing, they don't have that reliability. So they can close the shop at any time. And I know that from experience now. So yeah, there's funding talent, there's My Forex Funds, there's the prop trading, which is based in Australia. There's a company in Singapore called Enfoid, which I also work with. They give you a 50%, they give you a 50% cut of your profits, but they can allow you to manage account all the way up to 2 million. Right? So you can move up as you're going up and up and up and up. Okay, is that okay?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah, I have another question.
Yes, please.
Is Atrio FX also a broker?
No. So we will not handle anything money-wise. We will only give you the information.
Okay.
We do have a recommended broker, FX Pesa.
Okay.
Maybe that's a conversation you can have with Tom, but we will never, we will never provide that service directly.
Okay.
We're trying to be we're trying to focus on one particular area and be the masters of that instead of being the jack of all trades.
Right.
Okay, so just a quick question. So for Atrio FX, you said you'll allow us a 1 month free access.
Yeah.
So so usually what would be the subscription?
Okay, great question. I don't know why I didn't cover that, but yeah. So if you, on our website, if you were to click the Join Now button, that will take you to details of where you have an idea of what our subscriptions are and then exactly what those subscriptions entail. And there's a very large likelihood that these prices will change as we go into the new year. So for example, if you wanted to be with us and just take advantage of the fundamentals course, that'd be absolutely nothing. I think there's like 3-4 videos as an example of how I teach my teaching style. So you can truly see that that you can learn whenever you want at your pace and in a manner that you can actually understand. But with what you guys are doing, we're not just giving you that one thing, we're giving you the access to everything, which is in this 1 month. So originally it would have cost $55. So it's not $100 or $150 as you may have come across elsewhere. I know I certainly come across this in the Western world. When I was joining these platforms that actually had good mentors, successful professional trader mentors, they were charging on a monthly basis $150. So again, this company and myself being based in Africa or having a target of Africa, this is why it's not $150. And like I said, this is due to change again towards the new year. So on a monthly basis, it would have been $55, 3 months, $140, 6 months, $275. So when I sit down and analyze the successful traders in the community, what I have noticed is the ones that make the commitment of either 3 months or 6 months, they're the ones that actually make the most out of it. Now, that's not something that you will have to think about until you've seen what we offer. But usually the individuals that say, okay, I'm going to do this for at least 3 months, they get the most out of this system or this education. It's like someone that says, I'm going to go to uni definitely for 3 years, compared to a person that says, I'm going to go and see how I do on a month-to-month basis. Right? with a long-term view, you're a lot more likely to be successful compared to a short-term view, but we offer it anyway. I know there are many many communities here in the UK that would not allow you to trade with them if you were not willing to sign up for at least a year. And in the beginning, I didn't understand that, but now it makes sense, because for you to go through things and understand things and actually learn, you need that period of time. You're not going to become a successful trader in a month. Let's say maybe you were really close, right? You knew quite a lot anyway. You may have that, but 99% of the people are not going to do that. Most is usually 6 months and above, right? And it's not just, oh yeah, now that I'm here. It's once you're there, you need to carry on, right? You need to increase. Right? Anybody that goes to uni, once they finish university, they get a job, but they don't. The studying doesn't just stop there. Especially for the guys that go on to climb the ladders and become better at their profession. The study carries on. So that's what I found as well. So I'm continuously studying Forex with as much knowledge as I have now. Because remember, the market is changing. It's a moving mechanism. Was that okay?
Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay.
So you basically this goes until, like, you allow until 6 months.
We haven't had the idea of offering a 12-month service. And that is under consideration. As you can see, there is space there. But the reason why we offered a monthly subscription is because sometimes not everybody is in a position of where they can invest something in the long term. So we didn't want to exclude anybody because of their financial position. We wanted to make it available to everyone. So if there is somebody who is interested in this in a year, obviously that can be spoken to either myself, Tom, at some point, and we can assist with that. But we thought that these options would apply to most. We also didn't like the idea of saying, let's charge you $300, right? And give you $300 on like a big one-off fee, because that also doesn't work. You don't know whether you're going to like it or not. You don't know whether, you just don't know whether the quality will be enough and whether you will still want to be a trader. Something drastically may happen, and you don't. Let's say you've won the lottery. You may want to say bye-bye to trading. Not that is likely to happen, but it can. That's the point. So we don't want to tie you down for a really large period of time.
Okay. So like from your experience, when it comes to people taking this kind of course, and probably over a period of time, monitoring their growth and so what would you comment on that? Have they ended up like a success story? Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So, and funny enough, you've asked that question because I had a call with a Kenyan female this morning, and she was talking about how that the courses that we have provided her have not just helped her in her trading, because obviously we a large amount of this content is psychology-wise, because we understand that 75%. So she was saying, hey, a lot of what I'm experiencing, or the success that I'm experiencing, is not just in Forex, it's also in my personal life. So I now have discipline. I now know how to go and achieve certain goals. I now know how to set goals. I now know what books I should be reading, what information or who I should listen to. So there has been a lot of successful stories. Right now, we're in the middle of doing a review. So what a few traders have put their hands up to do is to put together a review via video of where they talk on video of our community and what that has done. We didn't have that idea. They came up with that idea. So they've had an experience that's worth sharing. So think of it as a mini testimony. And it's been, a big eye opener for many of the traders that we trade with, because they didn't know that this is what it took, and they haven't had this amount of help from anybody else.
Great, thank you.
No worries.
Franklyn, what I wanted to know, during this 1 month free session that you are giving us,
yep,
will it be also interactive? By that I mean, I go through the material that I'm seeing there, I can be able to ask questions and I'll get some feedback, or it will just be a muted one where I just have to go through what is there?
It would definitely be an interactive session. So the whole reason why we have the community is that you can interact, not just with me, but other traders. So we have forums. So for example, the advanced course, you can come in this forum and ask questions. And then a trader or myself will come back and reply to that question. Or you can message me directly. So we also have a messaging service. So I'm available to you basically.
Maybe to add on, since I've also joined the group, there is weekly 2 sessions where we actually do what is called a weekly review. So like how the market was, again, directly answering your question. If you are following the market, whether on a live trade or whatever, then at the end of the week, we would then review how it was, what happened, what we could have missed, how we could have made sure we don't miss it, or basically, how the trades went. So yes, there is a session, more of a peer-to-peer discussion, and usually Franklyn joins in.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thanks. It's clear.
And if you guys start that, I think Jackson and Ken and myself, we were even thinking, while you're still learning on that, we can also do the reviews of these trades, maybe every other day or once a week, so that we don't have to wait for the weekly, Atrio thing. We can meet as often as regular. Basically, we can be available here on the ground, whereas, the Atrio team meets at least once or twice a week. Yeah, we can provide that opportunity for us to keep discussing, because we're also still learning anyway. Yeah.
By the way, guys, I'm just coming across your comments. Yeah. Thank you for all your comments. Very much appreciated. There was a question by Colin. Can the subscriptions be in a group or individually? We would prefer them to be at an individual level, because everybody learns at an individual, or everybody has an individual experience while learning. And I think one user can only be used between one person anyway, just how the system is set up. So yeah, individually. Victor, you can decide. If you were to ask me, I'd say 6 months. That's the commitment. And I think to answer that question really well is, maybe let's turn the question around. Like, how much do you want to be a particular trader, and what is your position? There are individuals that can do 6 months, but there are individuals that can do 3 months. So the right question would be, do you really are you really committed? And at the same time, are you in a position of where you can go for the 6 months instead of the 3? And then, yeah, answer it that way. I can't answer that question for you, unfortunately. But I know when I got started, I actually bought the whole year. Once I saw it work, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy this. And I think it cost me like, yeah, just under $2,000. So, yeah, I made the commitment for the whole year. Do you give focus on how trade is mostly likely to go? our strategies will do that for you, right? So we're not going to throw you in the deep end and make you trade your own money straight away. So when I talk about the strategies and I give you it, I explain to you what a trading plan is, you will have an opportunity to back test it. So from that back testing, you will build the mental experiences. It's like, somebody training, right? So you will build the mental capacity required to have an idea of where the trade is more likely to go. This way, you are going to become an independent trader. Right? You are going to become an independent trader, and that is where money is. If I was to give you everything, or another trader was to give you everything, that means you would only make money when they make money. You would only trade if they're available to trade. But the real money is being made from you being an independent trader. So as much as we give you so much stuff, we will push you to be an individual trader. So you can trade around your own terms. Around your own timetable, and take the trades that you want to trade, because the biggest traders have learned how to personalize their trading a little bit to make it more about them. Remember, this can make you an incredible amount of money. So, but in order for that to happen, you need to be comfortable. So, yeah, should we say that 6-month one will be, if it's possible financially? Yes. I cannot answer that question for you. How many trades do you take in particular to set up a week, and why? Okay. So remember when in my story, I spoke about, I had the mindset of I should make a particular amount of money every week. And remember how I also said that was one of the things that was keeping me behind. The reason was I don't run the market. Right? I don't control the market. I don't know what the other traders are going to do. Remember that the number one rule in trading, that anything can happen. It means that you don't have as much control as you think you have. The casino doesn't have control of how much money you bet or whether you're going to come in or not. They can try and entice you by building amazing hotels, giving you offers, bonuses, but they don't have control of how much you bet or how often you come. They don't do that. So professional traders also realize that you can have a week of where you take maybe 4 or 5 trades, and you can also have a week of where you don't take any trades at all, because you're not trading just for the sake of trading. You are only trading if your opportunity is there, right? So you're not just there all the time. So take that into consideration. And another thing to consider is that you are a swing trader, which means, Atrial FX is a swing trader. And as a result of that, because you're in a higher time frame, the action is going to be a lot slower than a scalper. A scalper trades every single day. A swing trader does not trade every single week. We even had a month, maybe Tom can tell you, of where the whole month there was no trading activity. There was no valid opportunity. There were opportunities, but they were all invalid. So we said, okay, cool. Right? But it's having that type of control, that type of psychology, and that type of understanding that makes the real money. Remember, we're not gambling. Banks won't transact just for the sake of transacting. Nope. They will wait when the moment is perfect, when the moment is exactly what they want it to be. When the moment is similar to their system, and then they'll try. So we do the exact same thing. So I can't tell you how many opportunities you will have in a week, but I can tell you that we will only take the correct opportunities, and that way we can again have a high probability of winning, because that opportunity that we're taking, we've seen it play out many times when we were back testing. Okay. I hope that helped. How many times do we meet in a week? Atrial FX officially meets once a week, but there are individual groups, right, of where you guys can meet individually. For example, you guys can keep this group and meet once, twice a week. That's completely up to you. Should we say that 6? Okay. Waddell. Okay, how many trades do you take in a particular setup and why? I've just answered that question. Is that okay for the way I have answered, or?
So just going back to your advice.
Yeah.
Because I did ask whether 6 months then would be prepare one well enough. And you did say that it may depend on one's finances.
Yeah.
I didn't get that well, because I thought probably from what you've advised, if one can find a way of getting in touch with maybe those other agencies where you don't have to start using your money directly, then yes.
Yeah, so, okay, let me explain that. And again, very good question, thank you. So what I meant by finances is not trading capital, but just money that you can subscribe to the service. Because,
all right,
again, I'm African, and I'm aware. I've had exposure. I've been on both sides, and sometimes there may be money in a trading account, but that maybe is from a saving account, so that needs to go back. So they may not be a position of where you have, let's say, $300 just lying around. Some will do, most do, but some will not. So that's why I said finance, but in terms of subscription, not your personal account. Talking about your personal trading account, from now on, my advice is don't touch that, because unless you are okay with gambling, then do it. But if you're not okay with gambling and your idea is to become the casino, the professional trader, don't touch your own money. You don't need to. In the past, I've had individuals take money from their trading account and subscribe to the service, which is a very smart thing to do. But again, it's a personal decision. So yeah, that's what I can share on that one. Hopefully that helps.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, great stuff. Any other questions?
Franklyn.
Hello.
This might sound redundant, but I'll just ask, what kind of background does one need to be successful in Forex? Do I need to have a degree in finance? Yeah.
Great question. I think from my story, you can tell that I come from a completely different background to finance. In the beginning, it did help if you can come from a finance background, because it meant you understood how money works. People that understand how money works are not gamblers, because they understand the numbers and so on. So they have an advantage. But now, with the increase of technology and the increase in the quality of education from individuals such as myself, normal individuals are now being exposed to the education around money and psychology. And as a result of that, they too now have the opportunity of making it. And it was, again, I'm the poster child from that method, because I had no finance. And yeah, here I am. And this story, most traders at this point, there was a survey that was done. I can't remember where it was, but it was talking about the exposure of the backgrounds of traders. Most successful traders now don't have a financial background. The change has been that big, right? The change has been that big. So no, you don't need any financial background. If you do, it may help you, but as you may have realized, what really matters in trading is psychology. So some have asked if I'm a psychologist, will I be a better trader? The answer is maybe. Come and find out. Because psychology itself is massive. It's such a wide concept. It's incredible.
Actually, the guy who wrote the book, Naked Forex, He's a psychologist. Yeah. Yeah, he's a psychologist.
Yeah, so there is definitely a link between the two.
Okay, Frank Jackson.
Hello, Jackson.
Fine, thank you. Thank you so much for taking us through that. At least it has inspired some of us and restored hope, because, you know, Forex sometimes can be very disappointing. You give it all your best, then you come out with a bloody nose. But it is promising. I think your approach is quite interesting, and I'm sure most of us would want to join and learn more from you. Now, I will want just to ask a general question.
Yeah.
You know, all of us, as we enter into into Forex, at some point it reaches it reaches a time that you started doubting whether really there is fair play in this field. Yeah, to the extent that you start feeling that the market movers, like these guys, there's something, you know, they are the ones calling they are holding the reins, and they will pull it to their advantage at their own time. And mostly to the disadvantage of the new buys. They are the ones who get roasted every other time. So from your experience, because you've been exposed here, because I'm sure that is still that is most probably something that is still goes through, which is running through some of the members' mind. From your experience, do you think really there may be some information asymmetry that these guys, they take advantage of over the general retail traders who probably they are just looking at the charts, they have no information behind the scenes, but the big guys, they are basically sitting back and waiting to eat at their own time?
The answer is yes, right? And this is why insider trading is a thing. That happens 90% of the time. That will happen with stocks, because they're the ones that are largely affected by news and reports or announcements. Forex does not have many announcements, not big ones anyway, other than news from the central banks. So it does happen with Forex, but it's very rare. Now, what may make it seem like it happens often in Forex is the brokers and the games they play. So another advantage of being with working with a prop fund is that you don't have a relationship with the broker. So the prop fund will communicate with the broker, they will assess the broker, and they are the ones that have the relationship with the broker. So if the broker fucks them over, it's not just you that gets affected, it's also the investor. So the investors are doing all the diligent checks, all the things that me and you don't know, right? To make sure that they select only the brokers that are perfect, or the ones that are certified, that do the right things. And that way, it saves me all the trouble of worrying whether something will happen or not, because I know that I am covered. The investor is just as interested in my success as anybody else, because obviously he also makes money. So you're being backed by people that don't just have money, but also have knowledge of how to select the right partners to work with. Because brokers are a massive, massive thing. And in Africa, many people are just making money from being brokers, and a lot of money. And I'm guessing a few of you guys have experienced seeing funny things happen, or having trades taken the other way.
Yeah, especially when you were scalping.
Yeah. So can you imagine, when you're scalping, the smallest of movement makes a big difference. So they don't have to do much with scalpers. With swing traders, they have to think a little bit, but with scalpers, they don't have to do much. Very small. would I touch briefly on other trades like indices and commodities? Unfortunately not, because I can't, or I don't like talking about something that I am not an expert in. I may have good intentions, but because of my lack of knowledge and exposure, I will most likely mislead you. And that I do not want to do, sorry. My approach is be the master, right? Not the jack of all trades. So I've decided that Forex is the only thing I will do. If you think about in a corporate world, who gets paid the most? Person who's the master of something, or a person who does every little thing? Usually it's the person that's a master of something, the experts. So I've taken that approach too, and it's worked out quite well. Thank you. Any other questions? I know it's what, getting close to midnight in, yeah, where some of you are from. Alex, thanks so much for your time. And Alex, thank you for yours, much appreciated, my friend.
So just briefly, so the 1 month will start, that is from January?
It will start from whenever you register.
Okay.
So, so you can register tomorrow and it will start from tomorrow.
Okay.
Albert N said, any conflict of interest? What do you mean by that? Between what? What, Forex and commodities? The answer would be no. But yeah, please explain.
Or like you said you have a brokerage service?
Oh no, we don't have a brokerage service. We don't.
Okay. But do you have agreements with other brokers? Like you mentioned that like some of the prop firms will have an agreement with a broker. Are they incentivized to make you trades in certain ways?
No.
That they benefit?
No. So with the prop firm only makes money when you make money. So they're on your side.
Oh, so there's alignment.
Yeah, there's alignment here, correct. If anybody's having a benefit, it's you. Because the investor is on your side. So they will pick out the best brokers for you.
All right, thank you.
So yeah, that's about it, guys. Okay, so let's end the call here. Again, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to share something small with you guys in your group. And a massive, massive thank you to Tom for making this happen. And of course, you guys for coming along. So Tom, God bless you. And yeah, if you guys have more questions, either for myself, they can go through Tom, or once you join the community, you can message me directly, like all these other traders are doing.
Okay.
And yeah, we can have that conversation.
Okay. So,
is that okay?
Yeah, I think just a public announcement. I would like to onboard everybody before the beginning of the year. So can you make sure you give me all your emails, and then I'll work behind the scenes, and then I will probably call a shorter, brief session, maybe 20, 30 minutes, and do what we shall call an onboarding, how you'll be able to log in, and once you log in, how you can enter the classes, or how you can view the classes, and when you finish with the class, what you need to do. So maybe like a platform walkthrough. So I'm going to request, if you're in the group, tell me, send me your email also, again, right here on the platform, and then I will propose a day before the end of the year, so that as we start the new year, we all starting, ready to fly. That's my thought. What do you think, Franklyn?
I think that's a good idea. New year, new start. Thank you, Phoebe. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, very much appreciated.
Okay. If I don't have your email, please submit your email through the platform. Right now on the chat, many of you have been able to do that successfully. That's good. I'm convinced we've got everybody, but you never know. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you, Franklyn, for taking your time. I know you're
Thank you.
It's very hard to, you know, Africans, it's very hard to get a millionaire to sit down and talk to you for even minutes.
That's right.
No, but it's true. It's true. Yeah, it's very hard to get a rich, fat millionaire to talk to you for 2 minutes. After 20 minutes, they start looking at their watch. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I will want to be when I grow up.
Oh, he wants to be Franklyn when you grow up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I can't take this, guys. I'm running away. But yeah, very much appreciated. And yeah, I'm looking forward to working with you all, guys. So
yeah,
great stuff.
All right. Can we invite you over sometime when we are up and running, you know, either in person or even again, still virtual for a while?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm sure you can fly your chopper to Nairobi here.
Yeah.
We can definitely do do something like that. ActuFX has a large presence in Kenya.
Okay.
And yeah, we're also expanding into Tanzania and the rest of the East African region. So yeah, I will definitely be seeing many of you in person at some point.
Okay. All right, guys, if you don't have any more questions,
great.
I will release the millionaire so you can go sleep.
No money.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.